We're back. Unsolved Mysteries of the Reservation.
We're here.
It's Jay.
We live.
Stongo. You got the camera on
We're
too?
back. Yeah, I hit record on there.
Oh, so we caught all that.
I didn't forget this time.
The pregame.
The pregame.
The pregame's on.
The pregame talk.
That's the best.
Might need to.
No, keep it in. Keep it in.
Edit some of that out.
Except and then do like the blur or like the like when people curse on television. Every time we mention the mountain.
And we ain't talking about Space Mountain.
Yeah.
Already.
I know Chris has already got his headphones off. He's like, nope.
So I'm out of here. No.
Oh, man. Well, shout out to our TikTok. If you're not following our TikTok, go do that.
Yeah.
16,000 followers.
Interesting week. I got to say, I'm not even on TikTok. I don't know how it all works, but when you guys told me that there's videos out there of us that have reached like 100,000 like views or whatever at 30, like, it blows my mind. I can't even begin to fathom like what that's like.
It's crazy, dude.
It is. I had no idea. So
I really want to say thank you to all the listeners that's making that possible and sharing this information. Everyone that's taking their time to help us reach that. And again, we're looking at trying to make it bigger and better. So again, we appreciate it, and I hope you guys keep that up.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah. In 3 days, gained 10,000 followers. So, shout out to everybody checking us out, following us, leaving us comments.
hitting up the PMs.
The best comment was the one. What was it? What was the roach?
So we had a comment when we posted. We're talking about not eating in the dark. And some person, I don't know who they are. They said, "Yeah, I was told not to eat in the dark because of roaches."
Dang.
And then someone replied to that and said, "Yeah, that's the spirits eating is the dead roaches."
Yeah.
They must have lived in some of the houses I used to live in. Y'all talk about spirits follow me. I think roaches follow me sometimes.
Yeah.
Can't shake them.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I love this podcast. We usually cracking up, man. It's the best. It's the best.
So I got. Did you get any interesting listener stories? Several times over
on TikTok or wherever. Yeah, I got a few on there. Like the comment section, though, we have like 500 comments.
That's crazy
on each of those videos.
Yeah, it's impossible. Like over the course of the week, it's just trying to even locate a story in those comments, man. Besides the dead roaches comments, and
that one's top one.
Yeah, that was literally
for some reason
there was like 100 people like that.
It's at like 1,200 now. Yeah. People like that
one.
That's awesome.
Like, yeah.
Who was that? Was that you, Tyler? Secretly on TikTok.
The deeper, darker criminal link.
All right, yeah. So
the burner.
Never mind. I'm not even going to say my joke. I'm not even going to say my joke. Every time I open my mouth, they all twist up my words. I ain't even going to say that joke, so I'm going to save that one for the Patreon. If you want to hear that joke, find us on Patreon. No,
they'll be searching for days, man.
There was one comment on there, though. We were talking about the whistling at night, and then somebody said, "I didn't believe it until I did it."
Oh, yeah, see, that's the same boat I was in. We were in. We were all like, "Oh, that's kid stuff." That's just they told us that to scare us for some reason.
And they go and do it, and guess what?
They said something whistled back. They did it 3 times, and then finally something started whistling back.
Yup.
Said 3 times, man.
That 4 sacred number.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Yeah, man, that's and that's one thing that one thing I'll say about the comment section on that specific video we posted is there's multiple cultures that are literally co-signing those stories that was told in that video.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had Polynesian, we had Hispanic, We had the indigenous people over in Australia was commenting. It's crazy. You know, to think that these entities are traveling around like that, you know, it's kind of surreal.
Yep.
I mean, I believe them, you know, no doubt, but it's craziness.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how, like, where that's reached, too. But again, it's what, 250,000 views now?
Yeah, on that video.
And then I think the other one has 100,000 now, so.
Shoot, who knows where it's going to be when this this episode drops.
Yeah, if you had told me, well, that happened to me like 25 years ago, that 100,000 people would hear that story, 250,000 people would ever hear that story, I would have called y'all crazy.
Yeah. You know, and that's what, you know, and I think one thing too that I think with our TikTok that we've done a good job on, and especially with the snippets and things of that nature, is getting the information out there, and it's reaching people. The information is actually getting out there where people are like, man, I always wondered why my grandma always said that, or my grandpa always said that, or my mom, you know. That's just, to me, is just the coolest part of all this whole thing.
And then we have our very own Chris, who did some hunting.
Oh yeah. A while back, I went to this area here in Oklahoma. Unfortunately, I can't really say where or by whom. They asked me not to say much, you know, the background of this place. But anyway, I went over there and investigated this home, and it's like one of those big old mansion homes. And anyway, I walked in there, and they were telling me some stories about this place. They were, I guess, people do this for a living. You know, they buy old houses, they fix them up, and they sell them for a profit. And that's what these guys were doing. They said they were having issues, you know, while they were remodeling this place, you know, and she had told me about this, so I went to go check it out. And I asked the gang to go with me, but
Dang, left him hanging.
Mystery Incorporated.
but
God.
the gang was busy. So I went over there and checked out this place, and you know, anyway, it was evening time, and I was telling these guys that, you know, when I walked in, you know, I had this. I was talking, you know, saying, you know, I'm here to, you know, see if anybody wants to talk here. You know, I was told this place was very active, and, you know, if you got anything. Before I could even push that record button, you know, something punched me in the throat. And if you ever been punched in the throat, you know that's real. You know, especially, you know, it hurts, one, it's shocking, and it makes your eyes water. And anyway, this, you know, as soon as it punched me in the throat, I mean, it hit me so hard it made me go backwards. And I dropped my phone. And, of course, at first I thought, well, you know, I know sometimes they got, you know, especially here in Oklahoma, you got those huge locusts sometimes. And, man, those things can, pop you pretty good, too, if you ever got hit in the head or hit by one of those. They got force. So I thought maybe it might have been that. But, you know, I started to reach for my phone, and I felt something just like it grabbed me around the throat because I could feel its thumbs on my Adam's apple. And so anyway, I kind of spun around. I was flailing my arms all over the place. And when I come back around, you know, I felt something hit the back of my hand. You know, it was like somebody's face or head. You know, you can, you know, when you hit somebody in the jaw, you know, you kind of know that feeling. And you guys, you know, kind of play around, you know, when you get hit, and you know how when you hit somebody. And I felt that. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, I didn't know if someone was in that house or what the deal was or what was going on. Anyway, I was trying to figure out what was happening to me. Everything was going so fast. And, anyway, I felt something like it hit me in the eye, but it was like somebody's thumb went into my eye. Sometimes when they throw wild punches, that happens sometimes. As a youngster, I used to scrap around a lot, so I kind of know how these things feel, and I felt this, and man, I automatically grabbed my eye because I felt that like the thumb in my eye, and of course I stumbled back, and I was still looking, and by that time I was able to get my phone and turn the flashlight on. Of course, I was looking around through the house, and I didn't see nobody. And I looked all in that room. No one was there with me. I was kind of looking around to see, maybe there was, bugs or something. Like Tyler said, roaches. No. Anyway, Oklahoma roaches. No, I'm just kidding. But
they look like loafers.
So I went from room to room, and I was kind of, to be honest, I was kind of freaked out. Kind of didn't know if it was a person or, if it was, insects or whatever it was. I was trying to be ready for it. And of course, during those times, when you investigate, you use all your senses. That's what a good investigator does. And of course, I didn't see nothing, I didn't hear nothing, I didn't smell nothing, and I didn't feel nothing. I didn't get that funny vibe. And they say, if a spirit, does things like that, it has to have a lot of energy. And a lot of times they don't last. Once they've spent that energy, that's it. It's dead place after that, for a time till it can build more energy. So anyway, I thought, well, that spirit might have already, showed all its head, and that was it. So I decided to leave, and before I left, though, I told it I was coming back. No. so
coming back for revenge like Rocky.
Oh no, you gonna sucker punch me? No. You don't know me? No, it's good.
Come back blasting.
I don't know it. Boy, I was mad, boy. I was like, something like that come at me like that. No.
Menace on the res.
But all joking aside, though, they tell stories. You hear people have those experiences of things, kind of violent like that, and there's a lot of explanations for spirits that are like that, and during my time of all the travels and having all my experiences, I've had things scratch me, I've had things kind of hit me, I've had things, bother me in situations, but I've never had nothing intentionally be aggressive with me. I mean, because this one was definitely, on its game. It was definitely upset and angry about something because the way it came at me, and so, I talked to the owner, again, and told him my experience in that place, and, of course, that time, she's telling me how all those carpenters, ended up quitting, because something pretty much, jumped on them and done something or scared them. And, so, she asked me, what I think it is. And, I said, I really can't say. I said, even though it was, a rough interaction, I still don't know whether it was just a spirit or a evil entity or, maybe something that was put there. I said, because everything to me, it happened so quickly. And so, but I do plan on going back, and I'm hoping these guys will go back with me for revenge. No, I'm just kidding.
The sequel.
Oh, I know it. But
Bring the whole crew.
so this next time, I'm coming with Nux, boy. I'm going to start swinging as soon as I walk in that door. I'm doing martial art form and
That's crazy though.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I've never heard of that.
I've heard of like violent, I guess, spirits, but that's pretty. To have someone I know go through that,
Yeah.
and tell us like firsthand, like face to face, like that experience, because you see it on TV, but you don't know if it's just TV or not.
Yeah.
I think that's like Zach Baggins'
Yeah,
energy there.
Yeah.
but you go there by yourself.
Dude, that's why he's a savage, man. That
Man.
dude's a savage.
Yeah.
No, and let me ask you this, Chris. With that happening to you, and like I said, does it make you kind of question doing investigations sometimes when things like this happen?
No, I believe that, as someone that I don't consider myself an investigator or a hunter. I just go in there just to see what is there, to get answers, like I was saying, before, the reason I do what I do is not to provoke or to do anything negative. I'm there to find out the age-old question: what happens to you in death? What happens afterwards? What's the afterworld like? And sometimes some things are good and some things are bad. And unfortunately, what you see on TV is not always real. They do that for people to watch their show. I'm not there for people to know who I am or to get famous. I'm just there to figure out what happens, when you take that walk. And, this is part of it, and evidently, like I said, I would love to go back in there. I'd love to take you guys in there. Let y'all go first. Since y'all left me hanging. No, it's good.
I brought back up. Go.
No, but was saying that there are a lot of stories out there that's violent. Dealing with spirits, and I always crack up because you guys are talking about that ghost adventure guy. When he gets one little thing that man, he's running, screaming, doing all kind of stuff, and run out of there and ask that Aaron to go in there. And, so yeah.
Yahola.
So
That sigh. God.
So I do know there's things out there. I've heard stories of even spirits raping people. And that's something. Like I said, that's a big question. That I think a lot of people don't understand or realize those things are real and it happens. Even like in downtown Tulsa, there's a place in that new Greenwood area, and it has apartments above these stores. But one of the apartments down there, it's told that there's a spirit in there that it'll take you and it'll rape you. And everyone that has experienced that, they're shocked. They're shocked on that, to even hear a story like that. These spirits can do a lot of different things, and, people's always out, like I said, I always warn people, if you're going to go out there and ghost hunt, you be careful, what you ask for sometimes, just like this one, this one was real. I mean, it came at me. But I'm going to tell it right now. I'm coming back for you. No,
He's trying to take you to the mountain, maybe.
No, this thing, like I said, it was the thing I was kind of concerned with this situation is if I took it home.
Yeah.
And so I did my own measures to make sure, like I said, before I left, I made sure I voiced those things, that I wasn't there to offend it, and it better not follow me home. I don't want you following me home.
Do you have to probably doctor yourself up when you get home from a encounter like that, or is that something you should talk about?
That's what I was saying, before, natives, we have our own way of taking care of things like that. And, if you do something like this, make sure you take care of yourself, you know, because some of these things, they may not go in a easy way. You know, people think, oh, I'll just go in there and smoke cedar or burn, you know, sweetgrass or sage. And, you know, again, you have to have faith. You've got to know what you're doing. You know, you can't just burn it and then that's that, you know, because sometimes these things, especially these evil spirits, they won't go in a good way. You know, they're going to fight you. They're ready to do that. And, you know, I think that's, you know, all these guys that are out there running around wanting to, you know, check these things out, you know, I think they need to experience things like this, you know, to say, you know, hey, there's, you know, sometimes, you know, you shouldn't go into certain places. And this place was definitely one of them.
Man. You know, that's, you know, it's definitely something personal when they, you know, with the choking aspect. You know, I always wonder if, you know, when it comes to those types of attacks, is if it's something personal, like happened to them, like they died that way, you know, in a personal way like that. You know, if with a gun, it's a little bit different. You can kind of just point and aim, and it is. When you put your hands on somebody like that, you know, I always wonder if, you know, that if that spirit, maybe that was had done to him in a previous life, or, you know, anything of that nature, you know.
Yeah, I recall seeing this story. I don't know what exactly channel it was on or where I saw it at, but I remember them talking about they were down there in the Civil War area down there by Gettysburg, you know, and this was like a, I don't know how you say, like a hotel near there, and this individual went and walked around that cemetery, and he went back to his hotel room, and that night, you know, he was laying there and something jumped on him, you know, and he felt it, you know, and it was hitting him, you know, and they started, you know, fighting around in there, and, you know, he didn't see what he was fighting, and, you know, he was just trying to get up off that bed, so he just started swinging it left and right, and he was able to jump off that bed. And he said as soon as he got onto his feet, he felt something kind of grab him around the waist, and it bumped him up against that wall. And you know, he couldn't see what was going on, and by this time, you know, he was wide awake, you know, and it all just ended. You know, it just stopped. And so I think he went to talk to somebody about that room, and, you know, and they said, well, this was, you know, old Civil War thing, you know. And he goes, yeah, I know. I went to the cemetery and I was reading, you know, all those things. And so the person that was telling him said, well, you know, these guys died in a violent way. You know, maybe he thought he was still in the war. And maybe he thought, you know, you was the enemy. And so, you know, to me, that makes sense, you know. And like on this spirit, you know, I know the area that this place was at. You know, I know there were several different battles, you know, not only Indian wars, I guess what you might say, you know, between the tribes in this area. But you had little skirmishes here and there, you know, even from Civil War time. And then you had local, you know, skirmishes, you know, as well, you know, and of course you had, how do you say it, racial battles, you know, in this area as well. And so, you know, maybe it was one of those racial things. Maybe he saw me as a enemy like that, you know, coming into his home, you know, or she, you know. I can't say whether it was he or she, but
No, that's definitely interesting. I know, you know, I know when it comes to these spirits, Tyler, you said you had a listener story, you know, possibly a spirit, you know, could be something, you know, interesting.
Yeah. We want me to go ahead and I can read that? We go ahead and read that? Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I even asked Chris after I got this story because, I know the Muskogee people have a lot of stories like this. And so I actually asked Chris, like, do they have like a name? And he said yes. So that's the way I knew, like, well, this is, there's some legitimacy behind, all those stories that you hear. But this one says, hello, my name is Leah. I recently came across your podcast, and I'm listening to one of the episodes tonight. I just wanted to share with you my experience that I had when I lived in Oklahoma. A little bit about my background. I'm born and raised in South Florida, and I'm a member of the Miccosukee tribe. My husband is a member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. I've never had any paranormal experiences until I moved to Oklahoma. In December 2011, me and my husband moved to a rural area in southeast Oklahoma. We moved into his childhood home, which we inherited after his dad passed away in 2007. It's located in a small rural community with a small church called Goodwater United Methodist Church, and that is located in the center of that community. And I guess Goodwater's Pushmataha down in that area.
Choctaw country.
Choctaw country. And so the houses are spread out and not that close together. We were surrounded by a lot of tall pine trees and hills. And the church also has a cemetery next to it with a lot of my husband's relatives buried there. My husband had a lot of paternal relatives living down the road from us. So a couple of his cousins would walk over to our place and hang out with us and help us work on things around the house. We were living there about a month or two when we decided to get a security camera just to keep an eye on the yard. We didn't know how to set it up to record, so we just hooked it up to a small flat screen TV from where we could easily see it in our living room if we heard someone honk the horn or our dogs bark. One evening around dusk, while my husband, my stepson, and my husband's cousin were in the backyard working on my husband's flatbed truck, we had our security camera facing in that direction to the backyard. Meanwhile, another one of his cousins was hanging out with me inside the house while I was folding clothes in the living room. We were really just kind of talking away, and we just happened to glance over to the security camera at the same time. At that moment, we looked back at one another, and his cousin asked me, "Did you see that?" And I responded, "Yes." But by the time we looked back at the security camera, whatever we saw was gone. What we saw was a huge shadow figure standing in front of a tree that was up the hill from where the guys were. It was just standing there. It was looking down, watching my husband, my stepson, and his cousin. They had no clue that they were even being watched by that thing. They didn't respond to its presence. What we saw had no features. It was only a blacked out shadow figure. Just a black void. It was shaped like a man wearing a hat and had on a big long coat. Almost like the figure of Jeepers Creepers is the best way I can describe it. I always thought about the Undertaker, like the old Undertaker, Paul Bear. But anyway, I just added that. It was one of the craziest, unexplainable things I experienced while living in that house in Oklahoma, and I was glad when we finally moved away from that place. And then she actually attached some pictures of kind of like the setup that she had and the photograph of where they saw the thing standing. And I just want to say Mado for sending in that story because I have heard a lot of stories about shadow people or I guess that's the best way you can say it.
Yeah.
We'll just call them shadow people, just kind of growing up in Muskogee. And I never knew what to call them other than that. And so a lot of it's described the same way, but these tall, towering shadow figures, and they don't really move. They just stand there and just watch.
It's like they're looming over the room.
It's like almost like death watching over your shoulder or something like that. And so I love that story that she sent in. And I think Chris, you had another kind of talk a little bit more about what those are and like what they do.
Yeah. What I was going to say is, no matter what nationality you are, they all have, names for these things. They all have, beliefs. And even, no matter where you go, they have a shadow man somewhere, and they always describe him with a hat, a tall hat or some kind of hat, and I've always thought about those kind of things. I know up around where I work, they have a story down that way, and it's a road. It's an old dirt road, and they say, every now and then, towards evening time, you'll see this shadow walking, and this one has a top hat, kind of like a fancy top hat, and they say he goes down, and he'll walk to this pond, and then he goes into the pond, and that's it. He disappears. But they said the story behind that was a long time ago there was a Celestial man or black man, that came into some money, down that way somehow, and this was like way back in the late 30s, and he came into some money, so he would dress up, got himself some nice clothes, and he'd always walk because he lived on that road. And they said some people, was kind of jealous of him, of course, and wanted to rob him. So he was walking, to town or coming back from town, and they said he disappeared. When they went and looked for him, they found him in that pond. And so they say, that's his spirit, always, letting people know how he passed away. He wanted people to know that these individuals, they beat him up and they drowned him and they took all his money and robbed his home. So, they say even to this day, every now and then, especially in evening times when the sun's going down, you will see him walking up down that road, or you'll see him walking into that pond. And they always, describe him having a top hat, like a tuxedo top hat, and that was kind of popular, for those guys back then. So, and even like I've heard some people also, describe those black shadows. They have what they call that, what do you call them? I know Russell gave everybody a hat like it.
Billy Jack.
Like the
Reservation hat.
called dead hats, I think. Our friends call them dead hats, but they're flat.
Like the Undertaker hat.
Yeah, pretty much. Undertaker's hat.
They call them.
Stop talking about the Undertaker today.
They call them reservation hats, and the reason why they call them reservation hats is that a long time ago, when they were, they had all these Indians on reservations, they would give them supplies, and one of the ones that was those flat billed hats because they weren't shaped, and of course Indians, they'd wear them, and so that's why it was known as the reservation hat, because they would give it out to all those Indians on the reservations, as a, I don't know, we call it part of their supplies that the U.S. government would give them. But it also had diseases on them along with the blankets. People always talk about the blankets, but they don't talk about the other items that they gave them with diseases on them. And that was one of them because they knew those Indians would wear them. And so anyway, that you'll hear stories of, especially in certain Indian reservations, that they'll see that black spirit with that kind of reservation hat. And even that picture, that you had looked like old Zorro picture.
Yeah.
He has, that old Western type looking hat.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's like maybe that's what they passed away in, a long time ago, but, I know like these evil entities that, want to, I don't know how you say.
Mimic, a
person. They'll utilize that form. And so you'll hear stories like that, not only here in the United States, but all throughout, the world. Someone, especially like in Europe, you'll hear them with the top hat.
Yeah.
Or, even like in some of, like in Italy and, around those Sicilians, they'll talk about kind of having this kind of a straw hat looking design, and so, these stories, are, worldwide, and so to me, it only makes sense, because Indian folks got them, everybody else got them, so,
Yeah.
makes sense to me. So,
Is there like a difference between like the shadow people and like, I guess a ghost is what people say?
yeah, that's actually a good question. And the thing that I was always told that, like I was saying, all nationalities have this, some believe they're not all bad, but there are some that are bad. And, I guess, those phrases that they use for these things, they're like, what do you call it? I know, Russell, you talked about it on one of those shows, like an incubus.
Oh, like a succubus, incubus?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Type of entity. I guess that's how you pronounce it. You have to forgive my speech on that. But anyway, when it comes to those evil ones, they like to visit you in your dreams. And once you start dreaming of them, you'll start seeing them all over the place. You'll see them out of the corner of your eye, or, sooner or later you'll see them face to face. You might walk in their room and there they are. They'll step out of your dreams into your real life. And that's when you start having problems. They say while you're dreaming of them, it's all right. You can get rid of them, but when they're starting to manifest in your everyday life, that's when it's kind of towards the end, and sooner or later they're going to get you. And so, those ones, you definitely don't want to have around. Those are separate than that, like that story I was telling you, walking down that dirt road. That one's a spirit. Mm-hmm. He's just trying to let people know where he passed away. But now, for example, maybe you run across one of these entities. White people like to refer to it as dream paralysis, where you freeze up. Mm-hmm. You'll start experiencing that. The worse it gets, you'll start experiencing that dream paralysis. Mm-hmm. And then you'll start seeing them in everyday life. And that's when, like I was saying, that's kind of the end of you. Mm. So once they start stepping out of your dreams, if you ain't handled it by then, not to say that, you can't get rid of them there when you start seeing them like that. It's just more difficult because they've gotten a real grasp on you.
So are they directly related then to sleep paralysis, or is that just like...
Majority of them, they say yes, because these are, I hate to use the word demonic, but that's the only thing I can think of right now to describe.
Maybe like like when an entity feeds off your energy, maybe like a parasite, maybe, kind of what you mean, or...
Yeah, that or you would refer to it like evil spirit, mm-hmm. Because I was also told that during these things, when they manifest with you in your dreams like this, they're there not only to take you, but they're also there to create more. Mm. And if you understand what I mean by that, to create more of those things, that's where, I always hear people talk about that. How you say it again?
Succubus, incubus?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the paralysis.
Oh. Yeah. No, what he said.
Succubus, incubus, yeah.
Yeah, people say, oh, I start dreaming of, having, I don't know what you call it, procreation, and
We call it going to the mountain here.
see, and that's why he needs therapy. I was kidding.
Hey, that's tasteful. That's tasteful.
So anyway, when they say you start, dreaming of, having those relationships, like that, you're actually helping create more of those unholy things. And, not only Indian folks believe that, but, all nationalities, believe that, even somewhat the church, so, with that being said, you don't hear that too often. People just say, oh, you got issues. You're like Tyler Randall.
I do wear a hat a lot.
Dang, he was the one out here lurking.
I don't know.
I don't have a fancy hat, though.
Hey, dude. I gave you one.
Yeah. That's Russell Sun Eagle.
No, God.
I supplied it to him, so give
It's
it back,
his fault.
please.
What's the say, Russell? What's the Instagram, real quick?
I'm taking that hat back.
Hey. But I really like hearing those sleep paralysis stories, because they always tell them, oh, it's not real, it's not real.
No, it is real because I've had sleep paralysis like that. I lived in an apartment in Norman, and it was one of these times where it was just like, it's just kind of like a rough time in my life, Things were just kind of going squirrely, and getting ready to graduate college, and just a lot of questions and a lot of unknowns and a lot of fear, and it just, like I said, it was just kind of a crazy time. And I remember like having dreams, like even during the day, going to class real early and then coming home and napping or whatever and fall asleep on the couch. And it seemed like I'd have these dreams like where somebody was trying to get me, and either I was just like, or like, it was one of those dreams where like you're kind of, or you're dreaming of like you're awake, I guess, or maybe I was awake a little bit, like I was conscious. I knew where I was at. The lights were on. Like I said, like, but it wasn't sure like if this is a dream or if this is real life. But I remember like someone trying to get in through the front door, banging on the door, trying to kick in a window, and I could not get off that couch to like, you know what I mean? And like it scared me because I'm like, wake up, or like, is this a dream? This is a dream. Like, you need to wake up. Like, you need to wake up. And I would have like that happen, and that happened. This is the same thing like every time, like someone trying to get in through that front door. And like the apartment I lived in, you went in the front door and the couch was like literally like right there. So that was always the dream. And the other dream I'd always have would be like, I felt like going outside and laying down like in the street, like in the road. And this was like at night, and like looking at the stars and thinking like, is this real? Like, am I really in the middle of the street? Like, wake up, like get out of the street. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was so realistic. Like, I couldn't differentiate. I mean, obviously it was a dream, it was asleep, but at the time when you're in the middle of it, like, it was so real. It was like reality. And I couldn't break that. What am I trying to say? Like that, I couldn't break through to figure it out, like, because it felt so realistic. I could feel the pavement. I could feel the sound of the banging on the door because it was so loud, like in your chest.
So realistic.
So realistic, like.
Let me ask you this: when you had that moment of like it's feeling like this is real, when you woke up from that, did you ever notice, like, your hands were gravelly from, that dream, or, or if you, did you notice that, that if someone's banging on the door, there's a picture, next to the wall, or it was moved. Did you ever notice anything like that?
I never noticed anything like that, but it got to a point though where like I got to be kind of afraid to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I did a lot of, I don't know how you say, research and reading on that topic, and I always found it very fascinating, they say 90% of those people that, suffer from sleep paralysis, they only do it in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like if they go to a hotel or somewhere else like this, they have that same experience. If they're in a different location, and they always say it's psychological, it's something, it's just your mind, doing certain things. But, to me, I mean, if it only affects you in certain places, isn't that weird itself?
Mm-hmm. That's unexplained.
Now that you think about that, like, it really only happened when I fell asleep on that couch.
Yeah.
Like, if I was in my bed, like, it didn't happen. It was only when I slept on that
Where'd
couch.
you get that couch at?
And I mean, that couch has been in our family for, we called it Old Stripey. And the
God.
thing had been-
Yeah.
we did, man. Like, I have
Seen
a
everything.
picture, I have a picture of me it's no longer with us, R.I.P. Old Stripey, but, that's the most
Shout out Old
comfortable-
Stripey.
Man,
So he had that tear in his eye when he said that. Oh, Stripey.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna pour out a little Mountain Dew Zero for my homie Old Stripey. We had some good times. Saw a lot.
That's a crazy name for a couch.
It's a good thing, man, that couch can't talk because
Oh my god.
it would tell. The Old Stripey podcast. But man, where was I going with this?
Where'd you get? So the couch was in your family for years.
Yeah. So no, the couch was in my family for years. There's like pictures of me on it as like they brought me home like infant. Like my mom and dad had it a long time.
That might be
And
it.
so
It might be it on that.
yeah.
That could be something associated with that. You just, sure, I guess we don't know, but
Yeah,
that's interesting.
But yeah, I mean, I felt like I was like sunk into that couch. Like I just knew I was like, get up, and you just can't.
Yeah.
It's freaky, man.
I always wonder
Never
too
had
if that, like for instance, we use that as an example. If being on that couch made you that comfortable to where you could let that, maybe that that guard down, maybe a little bit mentally, psychologically, or people usually most times people let their guard down when they're in their bed sleeping. I'm wondering if that, if like say an entity or something of that nature came through, and could have, it's like, all right, this is the best time to get him or try to get him,
Yeah.
The other statistic I thought was, mind blowing for me is they always say like 87% of the individuals that suffer from that are in a situation like you just described, depression, suicidal, or, got a lot of stress, and they talk about that, that's probably the cause of why you're having what you're having. But, again, old natives, old Indians used to say, there are things that cause those things, and those black shadows, that, come around and start, attacking you, start doing those things to you. And but what I liked reading about that sleep paralysis, the scientific things is that to me, it kind of confirms what those old Indians would say, when you're in that state of mind, whether you're depressed or whether you're suicidal or maybe you're suffering from substance abuse, those things come out on you. And that's why I always tell people, if you don't believe in those kind of things, go to any homeless community, underneath those bridges and talk to those guys. They're going to tell you that, there's something that comes to them that bothers them, that is scary to them, and it affects their dreams, it affects their days, and some of those guys, it's like they're no longer there mentally, and so, you visit any of these rehab places that, they're talking about them going through, what do they call it? Withdrawals. They have a name for that. What is it?
Detoxing?
Yeah. But, they'll talk about those things. They'll see those things. They'll say, it's in my room. It's doing this, it's doing that. And, to me, I always refer back to those old stories. I go visit, a lot of these reservations, a lot of these different Indians, and, I hear stories like that, things bothering them, and some of them, get help, and some of them are no longer here no more. Because it was that powerful for them. But I truly believe in those things. I also have experienced, like what would you call sleep paralysis? Where I felt like there was something in the room with me, and I was so terrified I couldn't move, I couldn't scream, I almost couldn't breathe. It was just that bad. But when I would go see my elders, they would tell me, there's something upon you. And they had certain ways of taking care of those things. And I was blessed to have those elders around that knew those kind of things. Nowadays, you don't hear people really talking about those things. They got certain things, kind of like general medicine, purposes. But back then, in my grandfather's time, and even in my father's time, they had specific medicines for these type of things. And I'm sure that was with some of these other tribes, but I also know across the waters, some of these indigenous people would have things for that, So again, I think it's, fascinating to hear, these kind of stories. If you've ever experienced it, how real it can be.
Yeah. Yeah, I told a story at Hominy, and it was along the same lines, and to really to add to it. So my grandpa passing was a really big thing in our family in December, and my brother, for the first time, ever, he doesn't really talk about this stuff. He's kind of real, like, just doesn't talk about it. Just won't do anything for it. And he goes to me and goes, "Hey, I remember you telling me back years ago you was seeing something in that room when I was in high school." He goes, "Yeah, I've been seeing it." He's like, because he just moved out of my parents' house, and he goes, "Yeah, I've been seeing it too, and I just didn't want to tell nobody." And I talked to other family members here in the last, I'd say probably week. They said, "Man, I heard your story over at Hominy," which, if you haven't heard that story, it's on Chris's Facebook. I think it's on YouTube as well. You just type in Hominy Storytelling Event, it'll show up. But I had a relative, kind of reach out and say, I heard your story, and my son is dealing with that, or has been dealing with that, or dealt with that, and described it as a top hat guy with a top hat, and so these things are it feels like they're almost everywhere. They're multiple different entities or multiple different beings. And it's kind of leads into a story that was told to me after Hominy. So I told my story, and I had someone reach out to me about their two daughters that had been seeing this thing. And when I told my story, I described what they saw to a T, like exactly to a T. It had the long coat with the trench hat, or top hat. They go and they looked over at their mom and said, "Oh, he's talking about the top hat man." And so she details, things that kind of went on, with this big shadow that these daughters of us were seeing. And, it kind of led on to some other things with the husband and the wife. And they were downstairs one evening real late, they're getting kind of sleepy, and they kind of look out of the corner of their eye, or they're in the bedroom, getting ready to go to bed, and, they saw someone pass by the door. They're downstairs, their kids are upstairs. And, when they both kind of looked at each other like, "Hey, did you see that?" And I said, "Yeah, I saw the shoulder. It looked like our oldest son." And the wife goes, "Yeah, it kind of looked like him. Hey, go check it out." You always got to have the husband check his stuff out, with the baseball bat. No. But, all those old horror movies. No. But so he goes and checks, and he makes the rounds, and he checks every aspect of the house, and nothing there, nothing at all. And so he goes up and checks the kids, and all the kids are in bed. Nothing. They didn't see. There was none of these kids downstairs, but something walked by that bedroom or that bedroom door. And there's another thing too I thought was kind of interesting was when it comes to her daughters. She mentioned that that there was she described it. The daughters described it as a little girl, pale little girl with long black straight hair. And I can't remember if I asked what the clothing was, if it was like old timey clothing or anything of that nature, but they said that they would see this entity, this being or this ghost or spirit, and so there's these things out here, especially when you mentioned with I don't know if you mentioned this on the pod, but you mentioned this off air, when it comes to the kids and in these spirits and these shadow beings, they affect kids, that's more apt to affect kids. And I think that's one of the worries that I have, with being around and seeing these things myself and having family members see them, is my daughter. That's something I always kind of think back in my head when it comes to these things. But to kind of finish up the story, so they had the house smoked off, and they had done the necessary things, and it's kind of it picks up in seasons. And I asked her if it was a seasonal thing. Like, hey, do you guys see it more in the winter? Do you see it more in the summer? Because it could be, heat or whatever. And she's just like, no, I haven't really noticed. But I think the shadow people phenomenon is, I think at some point I think everyone's seen it, and it'd be in your dreams. It'd be in your, on your couch, it could be anywhere, middle of the day, but if you do see these things, do what you need to do and take care of yourself. And if you're looking at, like, say you're watching TV and you see a shadow moving off to your side, they're around. You may not acknowledge it, but they're around. But I find those shadow people stories very interesting too as well.
Yeah, the other ones I like to hear about, during those sleep paralysis type dreams, you said that, you felt like there was someone trying to get in. The one I think is just real eerie are the ones when they see like these hairy things in their rooms, or they'll see shadow people in their rooms, or they'll have something standing over them, or holding them down, or trying to take their breath, either putting their hands over their mouth or they're sucking their air from their mouth. And I've always told that one is super old, because that's the one that comes and takes your life, and every tribe has tons of stories, or they used to have tons of stories. I don't know about now, because you visit some of these young guys, and they don't have anything. But a long time ago they would tell you stories like that those were stories that they wanted you to hear, because you had to be careful in their country or their land or their reservation or wherever you're visiting, and I always thought that was pretty cool, hearing those kind of stories, because I've heard just recently a story on a sleep paralysis, and the way this individual explained it was, at first this thing was standing at the end of his bed, and it had long white hair. I mean, he said that hair was like almost to the ground, and that the this being, it started being at the end of the bed. Then now it's got halfway up there. Now it's standing above him, on his bed, and he keeps, saying that, this thing, when it comes to visit him, he can't move, he can't do anything. He tries to do everything he can, and it lasts till the sun comes up.
Wow.
And that's the only thing that stops it from being there. It's not him can wake up. You know, it's not that, you know, anything else. It's just the sun. When the sun comes into his room, it goes away.
Wow.
That's
And
got to be a terrifying 6 hours or like
Is it
however long.
is
that
it in
you're
a
asleep
dream?
For that.
Is it a dream or is it actual, like, is he saying it? Is it a dream? I guess I'm just maybe clarifying.
well, he's explaining to me it's like a dream,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's so real. Like I was saying, unless you experience this, do you understand the difference between a dream and sleep paralysis?
yeah.
It's a whole different ball game. And you know, this individual, you know, of course, you know, I always tell them, say, you know, I know your people got to have something, you know, that you can go to get help, you know. So, you know, that was my encouragement for him, you know, either go to your people or find a church, you know, and get help that way. You know, if you know, maybe I know there's a lot of tribes out there that don't have anything, you know, but they do have, you know, a church nearby, you know. So, you know, I encourage you to do that, because either way it goes, I mean, you're still talking to God. You know, and I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, but, you know, when you're dealing with these kind of situations, you know, the only one that can help you is the man upstairs. You know, and if you don't get help, you're going to meet him faster than probably what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any shadow. I used to work at Santa Fe at the La Fonda Hotel. I don't know if I was just tired or anything, but when I'd look up, there'd be a fast thing that would move.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys ever experienced that, but it happened like a lot of nights sometimes. 2 a.m., 3 a.m. But I wouldn't let it get to me because I would be tired, but I would be aware, I guess. But yeah, I'd just be like, have my headphones on, and I'd look down for a second, I'd look back up, but I wouldn't even look up like all the way. It'd be when I was shifting my head up and I'd see this blur like run across like at the end of the hallway. So the hotel, like I'm at the beginning, and then at the end it's like it just goes. So that's something I guess shadow thing I've seen. Really, I haven't really seen.
I was in an old apartment about probably a year ago, and I had a real recliner, man. I miss that thing too. You miss old Stripey, I miss that recliner, man. Yeah. But
Would you name it?
I didn't have no names, no names, no name there. But I'd sit in my recliner and I'd kind of be dozing on, but not really, and you kind of see stuff off to the side, and I had a loft upstairs, and you'd see something run up the stairs real quick. It looked like a cat. I ain't had no cats. It'd be like, late, and I'd just be sitting there, kind of off to the side, like wherever my arrangement was. I'd always face my arrangement. My chair would always face those stairs to go up to the loft. And every now and then, I'd see something kind of run up there, and I'm kind of I guess I better check that out, in case I need to do something. So I'd go up there and be nothing up there, and when my girl moved in, she goes, "Yeah, I've been noticing, different kind of weird shadows," and I kind of think back to, I told them on the last episode, I was seeing basically that claw, looked like not a rooster, but I guess chicken feet on, I was thinking it was that again. And I was thinking it's back, that's kind of what I was thinking. But after a while, I kind of, I'd say talk to the creator for a little bit and, do what I had to do, and it'd go away. But I think they're always, with the shadow creatures or shadow beings, man, I always think that, I think they're around, and it's a constant battle. I think maybe with our psyche, or maybe with, the ancestors protecting us, that it's always a constant battle with these things get moving in closer and closer, as maybe as you wane a little bit on things.
I'm real old school, and things, but The only thing I got from that store was that chicken foot. I keep thinking of hot sauce. And
God, man, I ain't never had that. Is that any good?
That snack and pack chicken.
Oh, no, boy, you better try it out if you don't know.
Man, I'm lost in the sauce on that one, literally.
No,
Now you got to hit it with a lot of sauce to get it down.
it's real chewy. You like gristly stuff.
It's chewy.
Yeah. So
I'm good
for texture.
But
It does sound a little bit like that story that my cousin told, though. Now that we're into it.
Yeah.
About being under the bed and the dog barking and stuff. So
Yeah. What I was gonna ask is if you guys can look this up. There's I think it's on YouTube. It talks about this room that it's a famous video. It's a hotel room where it's screaming. You hear screaming in there. The security guards are called, and they go in that room, and there's nothing in there, but you see something coming out. When they go in, see if you guys can look that up.
is it on YouTube?
YouTube or internet, something like that. But I know it's a famous video, and I know you guys got good eyes. Y'all can.
It's a security guard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it?
I remember seeing that. No, I'm going to look for it, though. But I remember seeing that.
Yeah, show these guys. So, I mean, to me, again, people can say it's sleep paralysis. They can say shadow people, whatever. But, these things are real. And, there's a lot of people out there. And, nowadays, everybody's got a phone. So, you're starting to see, people catching some of this stuff and, posting it or putting it on internet and all these other, I don't know what you call it, channels or choices, I guess. I don't know, that they have out there today, like Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. So, I know they have a lot of videos out there of these shadow people, but I like this hotel one because, man, it was like one of the first ones that kind of blew everybody out of the water. Hopefully Russell can find it.
Yeah, everybody go search for Ghost Screaming in Haunted Hotel.
Is that on YouTube?
It's on YouTube, and it's full length.
Okay. Can you play it for him?
Yeah, if you can play the screen, that's kind of... Whoa.
Wait for the very end.
Man, he's spooked out, too. There's a security guard at the room right now. He's looking to enter. For the listeners. Security guard's going into the room. Poor John, man.
That'd be Chris telling me to go on in.
There it goes. You see it?
Oh, yeah.
It walked right out
So
of the room.
as he walks in the room, there's like a faint looking shadow and the lights are flickering. Man, that's crazy.
But anyway, like I said, whether you believe or disbelieve, I know a lot of people really hated on that video, saying it wasn't real, it wasn't this, it wasn't that. But there's other videos out there. They even got a video of one of those shadows dragging this lady down the hallway. And to me, like I said, with the, I don't know, with technology today, you're going to be catching some of these things that people just thought it was nothing.
Yeah.
So, again, if you're experiencing something, I want to say maybe you're not crazy.
Man, there's that. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But there's that story that I saw. I think they're actually making a movie about it, or is there like a documentary about it, about that girl in that elevator
Oh, the Cecil Hotel.
Yeah, and like just out of like it was just out of the security camera, like I don't want to say peripheral. What am I trying to say? Like the security camera.
It's like
Vision.
yeah,
Vision, there
yeah,
you go.
being able to see it.
Yeah, like she's like talking to something and then like making, but it's all silent video because it's just like security.
So there was
camera.
a documentary that came out I think in 2020 during COVID. That they kind of, I believe there's something supernatural to it in my opinion, but how they kind of tried to debunk every aspect of it, and they eventually came down to the fact that there's no possible way, and this is some of the investigators. Now I had like I said, split decision on this, but there was no way that she could have opened up this thing.
The water tower.
The water
wasn't she in
tower.
The water tower.
And
on top of the hotel.
Exactly, and they said that they basically chalked it up to her having mental issues and not sleeping because she had a history of depression and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. That's like almost they blame that, on a lot of these weird cases, weird things that go on. Is they might immediately blame, they got multiple personality or something crazy like that. They always put something to it, but me being kind of a superstitious person, I guess maybe is the word, or believing in these things, these paranormal things. I always think back that I think it might be a little bit more than that sometimes. Mm-hmm. Things we can't explain.
Mm-hmm.
Where was that at?
The
LA.
hotel.
That's in LA.
Was
LA.
it LA. Yeah.
I remember seeing that a long time ago. What's it called?
It's called the Cecil Hotel, but I can't remember the name of the documentary.
It was something about.
I seen the original video.
I wanna say it's
Lisa,
something called. Well,
Lisa
no.
Lynn, I think is her name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
That's
yeah.
her name.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know how I remembered that, but
I don't remember what the documentary was. I heard they're making a movie on it too.
I think they are doing it. But they made a documentary, like I said, maybe during COVID or right before COVID. I can't exactly remember when that time was, but it's on Netflix.
Lisa Lamb.
Lisa Lamb, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Lisa Lamb. Yeah, that was crazy because she had been phoning her parents back and forth for days. Mm-hmm. Basically, what she did is she just left. She just wanted to, find new things, and she wanted to experience new things. And that hotel, the Cecil Hotel out in downtown LA, it's on Skid Row, and that's where the Night Stalker Richard Ramirez stayed.
Yep.
He stayed there, so there's got a long history of that place.
I bet there's some creepy old stories in them old hotels.
The thing I thought was crazy was that they were telling us that she was talking to somebody and they thought, but then somebody said, well, in Japan they have an old elevator game, and you do these certain elevator buttons in a certain manner, it takes you to a different world
Dimension.
yeah, different dimension. And anyway, they said that it looked like she was doing that before,
Yeah.
And then when that door opened up, she caught, whatever was in that dimension.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it took her.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dang.
anyway, I thought that was kind of crazy that they have a elevator game that's like that, or
Dang, they playing with danger.
I know it. Dang, it takes those guys to be real sophisticated. They can't just come up with
They can't
ghosts.
just jump up when it's like going down.
Man,
You
can't be
got,
like, I know, God.
I'd probably do the wrong order. and-
Combination.
Yeah. The only one I know like up, was it down, left, right, BA start.
No, we're good, man.
Sound like Street Fighter codes. boy.
I know, God.
Yeah.
Be all cramped up afterwards like that.
Yeah, I'm watching this video right now. If anybody wants to watch it, if you haven't heard of this, it's called Surveillance Video of Elisa Lamb. Shows bizarre behavior.
Man, it's crazy because it does look like she's talking to somebody, like she's having a full-on conversation with somebody.
She like gets out and then goes back in and like looks around back and forth.
I'll say this: another creepy part of that surveillance video is you can vaguely see a foot, like the very edge of a foot when I think she's getting on. There's a foot that they had found that belonged to somebody, and they could never figure out who it was.
I'm trying to find that documentary. I can't remember the name of that thing.
I think it's called Cecil Hotel on Netflix, or unless you're a little older one. But no, that's a crazy story.
It's called Crime Scene.
Okay.
You're right. Hotel Cecil. is called Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, she's like, well, the door don't even close.
That's what I'm saying.
And then she peeks out weirdly, and then she tucks herself in the corner like she's waiting for something to come in there.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's
I've seen
a
it a
crazy
long
story.
time ago. I've seen this a long time ago, but I forgot about it.
Yeah.
See if y'all can pull one more up.
Dang, Chris is.
Which one?
We need to put the visual of those videos.
This one's called
The-
Bigfoot's Wild Weekend.
Oh my God.
See what I mean? That guy, Tyler
That
Randall,
one's free on YouTube.
trying to keep this clean for the chitlins out there. Well, he just got to go that one step too far. No, I'm just kidding. But another one I was going to ask you guys, there's a girl that gets dragged down the hallway by a black shadow or ghost. See if y'all can find that one. That one's pretty awesome. See if you guys can
Down a hallway?
Yeah.
Man, Russell's quick with the.
I know, so I can't keep up.
I'm like over here, like, man, I still can't find it.
Yeah.
But that one, I liked because, people, you always hear people telling stories, that they interact with spirits. And, people say, oh, that don't happen. But, you get something like that. And, of course, everybody says it's fake. But, still, regardless if it's fake or not, I know I believe in stuff like that.
When you get punched in the throat, make you think twice.
Exactly.
Is she getting dragged by her leg or arm?
Leg.
Her leg? Okay. This might be it then. Is it that one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Man, now okay.
There it goes. There it goes.
Dang.
But, yeah, show Tyler.
Nope. No, just kidding.
God. It's just Bigfoot's Wild Weekend.
But there's another one where she gets dragged down a hallway, and of course it's not the same lady, but it's a different lady. But she's getting dragged down a hallway.
That's crazy.
Dang.
What is she doing with the lights out around her, man?
That's crazy.
But that one will do. That's good enough.
That is a good one, though.
Yeah. So that one's a good one. So anyway, I was just trying to give you guys examples, that these things can interact with you, and that's why I always say, be careful what you ask for, because sometimes, man, you might get dragged down somewhere.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
End up in a water tower on top
Man,
of a hotel.
seriously though.
Whoa. Check this one out.
This one might be it.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Oh
Watch it.
man, I'm ready for this. Oh,
See?
oh,
See?
what?
Show him.
Nope.
Dang, that's crazy. So basically,
Doing me dirty.
this guy's walking down the hallway, and it looks like a straight
Shadow.
pulls this guy and drags him down the
Well,
hallway.
like pushed him down too, didn't it? And then like grabbed his foot.
Dang, the ghosted girlfriend's past. No,
God.
Look at that.
That's even scarier. No. Dang. So if you guys are listening to this,
Whoa.
that's what's going to show up at your house. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, that is crazy.
That reminds me of that movie Ghost. Those shadow people or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those ghouls. I don't know what they called them, but
Yeah.
they show up when you die. If you're bad, I guess, a
Yeah.
bad person. Pushing them down.
What's the name of that movie?
Ghost with Patrick Swayze.
Oh,
Remember the scene with the pot
The
of
shadow
Yeah.
demons or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot about that part.
That's
being
what that
movie.
reminds me of.
Yeah.
Pushing them down.
that's almost like that one movie I suggested to you,
which one was that?
the Pie Walket.
That was an awesome movie. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm glad I could give you a good recommendation. I'm glad I could help a brother out.
I trusted you when you said that. Now, if that was from Mr. Randall over there, I probably...
Still pushing Bigfoot's Wild Weekend.
Man, he has a. If you guys don't know, he's got a script going on right now between Feral Predator.
Whoa.
Before we end it,
Don't be giving out my secrets.
before you started, we're gonna watch. What were we looking at? We're looking at YouTube for. I think it's for Primal Rage, right? There was like a free version. We thought
Oh,
Wasn't there a free version of Primal Rage?
Yeah.
And then we ended up finding don't go looking for this, but there is a movie called Bigfoot's Wild Weekend.
That's how we found it.
We watched it for like 10 minutes. I was like, what the heck is this?
What? Hey, give us a synopsis.
No. I mean, if you really want to look at it, go ahead. It's pretty nasty.
Bigfoot wilding out for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
He
nasty.
was. Yeah, he was going.
Golly.
I guess he was celebrating from beating Predator. No, I'm just kidding.
After his victory, huh?
He went and floated the river. Like Weekend at Bigfoot.
Oh my god.
That's a crazy movie. I didn't.
Tyler, you watched
I
the
mean,
whole
I did
thing.
not
Don't
watch
even
the whole
lie.
thing. Nah. Russell was trying to shoo us out. I can't record tonight, y'all.
Oh my
SD
god.
cards filled. You guys got to go home. No.
Charmin going to bed. I'm gonna.
Everyone get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone leave.
SD cards full.
Oh, my recorder broke. You guys gotta get out of here.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
we've stumbled across that. You're right, trying to find a free version.
Yeah,
of
free
Primal
version
Rage.
because I don't want to pay for it.
It's on Tubi.
Well, now
Oh,
after
yeah.
we talk about
The
it,
way I left that.
Yeah.
Remember, I think I left
Oh my goodness.
that recording. Like, I'm gonna go buy that movie right now.
you did actually.
I did.
Yeah, you bought.
Hey,
You found it.
respect to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rented it actually, but now it's free everywhere after we talk about it.
I know.
It's because it's blowing up.
I know.
Our TikTok's blowing up.
I'd hate to say that someone's stealing some ideas, but I'd hate to say that.
I just hope that the director of Primal Rage is out there listening. Just one time, anybody knows that man, send him our way because we want to have him on the show.
Man.
We
Yeah.
want to put a blanket on him.
For that movie,
That's right.
and we demand a sequel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Give him that big chief status.
Man, you had all the tribesmen come through,
Big
kill that
cheese.
last guy.
So anybody out there listening, we want to get in contact with him.
You
And,
know that guy.
yeah. We'll zoom
Whatever
him
his
in.
name is. You know, I say this about that movie. He did the Goblin crazy. That medicine woman. That looked like the Green Goblin off of Spider-Man. I couldn't even believe it. I said, who is that? Is that the Green Goblin?
Man.
Oh,
And her
my
laugh,
gosh.
too. And like they did like a 10-minute sequence of that laugh.
Yeah, that was at the very
That was a
end.
creepy,
too,
man.
the
I was like,
end
ugh.
sequence.
Yeah, she was scary. But everybody go watch Primal Rage if you haven't yet.
The official movie of Unsolved Mysteries of the Reservation.
If you've missed out on these jokes, then go watch it. But probably end it here.
Plug it up.
Book us for if you want us to come to your reservation. Let us know. We like to do live spooky tales wherever that may be. Email us, message us, hit us up or whatever. We have a little tour going on here in Oklahoma, but everybody's interested in these stories and information, so we'd love to come over to your town or wherever and tell these stories and just, I don't know, hang out.
What's the email? Russell, drop the email real quick.
I gotta look it up.
Okay, never mind.
I think it's, hold on, I had it on my phone.
You can find me at Yahola Tiger on Facebook. TikTok, One Man Band 918. And then I'd like to plug my Uncle John Tiger Artworks. Go message him on Facebook. He should be able to help you out. And what was that email, Russell?
So email us at unsolvedreservationmysteries@gmail.com. And follow us on TikTok.
That seems to
Get
be
it, get it up there. Reservation_mysteries. Instagram. Unsolved Mysteries of the Reservation. Facebook. Unsolved Mysteries of the Reservation as well. And you guys want to talk about whatever? Plug yourselves up.
Plug it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've got a Skoden Cinema over on Instagram. It's been kind of quiet over there lately, but I got some things in the works, kind of coming out. I've been doing a lot of writing and stuff, and so I don't know. Sometimes you shift focus every once in a while, but I'll come back to it.
Again, this is you can find me at Christopher Honka Hill on Instagram and TikTok, but I also want to invite you guys out to the annual Warriors for a Cure powwow in Porham, Oklahoma. That's going to be on October 8th. And if you guys are down there in that Porham area, you guys got some interesting stories, come see me. Come see us. And, I know last couple times I've been down there, I know a lot of people have some eerie stories from that area. Again, this time, I promised you guys last time I would come and record. And at this one, I definitely will come. But, also I just want to say, this is a good powwow. If you know anyone that has cancer or suffering from cancer or maybe lost their battle to cancer, this is a great opportunity to come out, show your support and your respect. They do a candle lighting at the end for all the ones that have lost their battle to cancer. They also recognize the ones that have overcome cancer as well. And they also recognize the ones that are suffering from it at this time. So, if you have maybe, a loved one that, has gone through that, or maybe you've lost a loved one, come. This is a great way to help them raise money to develop a cure for cancer. All Native people, we all have someone in our family. And this is all Native, and they're trying to do this for Native country, Indian country, to support these individuals. So again, October 8th at Porham, Oklahoma. Mado.
Go
Thank
check
you.
us out at Porham, Oklahoma. What did you want to say?
Oh, I was going to say thank you to the listeners.
Appreciate
y'all.
Shout out to the listeners. Thank you for listening, subscribing, being interactive with us, and for sure following us on TikTok. Go do that. And dang, I was going to say something else. If you have any listener stories that you want us to read, please send them our way. Doesn't have to be anything specific. We'd love to read them out. Please let us know, too, if you want us to say your name on the show or keep it anonymous. That's always a big thing. So, till next time, stay spooky and smudge. Smudge yourself, everybody.
Mado.
Mado.